Hey everybody, it's Josh Welgis. You know me as Gilly, and I am here today to unravel the secrets behind the Automaton of Shale and our brand new unlocked gear lock today, Riffle. Now, if you're not interested in all the secrets behind Automaton of Shale and you just want to learn about the new gear lock, you can jump ahead to the timestamp linked in the video description, and Shannon will be walking you through how this character works. Also, if you don't feel like watching me and you just want to read about all of this stuff, there's also a link to a blog post that fully unveils all of the stuff I'm going to talk about. But I'm here to talk about the secrets in the Automaton of Shale that we have not said anything about up until this point. And the Automaton of Shale, if you're unfamiliar, is our crazy pop-up book adventure. And when we put it up for pre-order a little over a year ago, we said there were additional secrets inside the box. But again, we didn't say what those secrets were. So I'm going to open the Automaton of Shale, remove the pop-up book, and show you the secrets behind this tiny little deck box. About 3 years ago, a little Minnesota puzzle company called the Enigma Emporium put out a product/game/puzzle called Carte Rouge. And it's a standard deck of playing cards with a puzzle embedded in each and every card. Now, we had a working relationship with the Enigma Emporium already. Chiara Foss and Logan Giannini are the two folks behind the Enigma Emporium. And we had done some work with Logan before. He's now a full-time CTG employee and did work on Victorum, et cetera, et cetera. But we love this idea of a standard deck of playing cards with puzzles. And as you may or may not realize, we had previously embedded puzzles inside of our Too Many Bones products. And we thought, what if we did a puzzle deck? And what if that unlocked a secret gear lock? And what if that gear lock actually used a standard deck of playing cards as a part of their gameplay mechanics? This idea kind of got crazier and crazier as we went, and we loved it. And so we got to work on it. Now, the original thought process behind this was that we would unlock these cards, give away these cards as a part of throw-ins with orders. We'd hand them out at conventions, and we'd slowly unveil this puzzle over the course of maybe 2, maybe even 3 years as we led up to this big unveiling. However, because of COVID and conventions getting canceled and just people not hanging out in person as much, we decided in the end to sell the complete deck as a part of the Automaton of Shale. So if you open up this deck box, you'll actually see some of these cards. And again, on each and every one, there is a unique puzzle to solve. It all leads to an online portal where the solutions can be entered, and once a certain number of puzzle solvers was hit, we would release Riffle into the world. And this last week, that magic number of 500 was hit, and so Riffle is, for the very first time, available right now to order on our website for 48 hours only. Now, Riffle is a mysterious character. They wear a mask. We don't really know much about them. They only come out of hiding in certain times. And so to lean into the theme behind this character, to make them extra special, to help drive business to our website at certain points of the year, Riffle will also only be coming out in subsequent timeframes when that counter hits certain numbers again in the future. So on this initial release, you have 48 hours to grab Riffle. In the future, Riffle will only come out of hiding for 24 hours at a time. And again, they use completely new mechanics. They come with actually a foil version, an unpuzzled version of this same 52 card deck that's absolutely beautiful. We're really excited about this character, and we're really excited about this sort of bizarre way that we are releasing Riffle into the world. Shannon's going to walk you through exactly how this character plays, but in the meantime, thank you for watching and enjoy.
Thanks, Gilly. I'm Shannon, and I'm going to be giving you your first look at Riffle the Gear Lock. Riffle is a very mysterious character, as you can tell by their tag, the Enigma. They are very shrouded in mystery and have been hiding in the shadows, waiting for the right time to come out and join the rest of the Gearlocks. And now is the time. So let's take our first look. I will note that the box is final. A lot of the components inside are final, but not all of them. And I think you'll be able to tell the difference. The very first thing I will show you is the inside of the box with this beautiful art. Now, the character will come with an insert and the cards will come in a deck box. We just don't have those here today. But the first thing I want to show you is this awesome deck of 52 cards. It is gold foiled, so you can see it shimmers and it's beautiful, and it's still PVC, as our cards are known for. And then on top of the cards, we have Riffle's dice. So Riffle has 15 dice. They're a gold metallic, a lot like the lab rats with that shimmer in them. And then Riffle, of course, has a chip. This is not the final chip. And a mat and a character sheet. And the character sheet's also not final. It's not PVC, but it will be when you get it. And that's the important part. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview of how Riffle works. The main thing that you'll notice that's different about their mat is this deck spot here. So instead of having 16 skill dice, they only have 10, but I think that the deck of cards more than makes up for it and introduces some really cool mechanics. At the start of the game, Riffle is going to start with 22 of their cards in their active deck and the rest off to the side. They always have a hand of 5 cards, and then at the start of their turn, they can play what's called a card combo. And card combos are going to look really familiar because they are similar to poker hands. So there are different card combos. You can play a single card, you can play matching cards, runs, suited, or if you get further along, you can play things like 4 of a kinds, full houses, and flushes. You can only play 1 card combo at the start of each turn, but Riffle does have some other ways to sneak some extra card combos in, which we'll see in a bit. When they play their cards, the suit of the card is going to tell you what that card does. So I will show you and we'll go over that really quickly. So the 4 suits here. Now, of course, this isn't a legal card combo because these are not 4 cards that connect together in any way. But if it was, we have the Vitality suit that lets you heal yourself for 1 HP. We have the Bone suit, which notably gives you bones, as you might expect. We have the Gear suit, which lets you deal 1 damage to an adjacent baddie. And then we have the Vision suit, which has 2 different options. The first option is that you can take 1 card from your full deck and put it onto your active deck. Your active deck is a limited resource, so being able to get cards back is a really valuable thing. Or you can use it to augment one of the other cards you've played. And it basically lets you apply that effect to any unit. So if I played a Vision and a Gear, then I can deal damage to anybody instead of 1 adjacent. If I play it with a Bone, then I can give that bone to a different unit instead of having to take it myself. And the same with the healing. You can heal a different unit instead of yourself if you play it with Vision. Now that's the basics of how playing a card combo works. Notably, if you play some of the higher up card combos, the 4 of a kind, the full house, and the flush, they have even stronger effects. For example, if you play a 4 of a kind, then you get to resolve each card twice, which is really powerful. Now, at the beginning of the game, you're not going to be able to play a 4 of a kind because the amount of cards that you can play in a card combo is tied to how many of the cards in the deck, how many of the dice in the deck builder that you have unlocked. So at the start of the game, I can only play 1 card. As soon as I start unlocking dice in this profession, then I can start playing more cards in my card combo. Speaking of the deck builder skill line, that's the first thing we're going to look at. And this line is all about managing your deck and getting cards from your full deck to your active deck to your discard and all around so that you can really start streamlining your deck. An important part of playing Riffle is getting your deck built to a point where you're more likely to draw really valuable card combos. So you might want to focus really heavily on one suit or another. You might want to get some numbers out so that you're more likely to draw a 4 of a kind. And this skill line is all about that. So the first one is the card counting line. And that basically lets you draw cards from your active deck, and then you can put them back either in your active deck or full deck to streamline that. And then the second one is burn and turn. And this one lets you discard cards from your hand and then draw back up. And then you also get to play a card combo after that. So that's one of the few ways that you can play an extra card combo on a given turn. The next one is the House Edge. And it essentially lets you draw cards from your full deck, and you can put them back into your discard, and then you can take cards from your discard and put them back in your full deck. Again, just really streamlining the cards that you have available to you. And then the last one is the deck stacking. And this one lets you take cards out of your discard and shuffle them back into your active deck. So lots of changing where cards are to set yourself up for good plays there. The second profession is the card shark profession, and this is all about sort of manipulating the battle. And the first one is good read. This lets you move away from a baddie that's just moved towards you so that it can't attack you. The second die is bleeding chips. This lets you add a bleed effect die to a baddie that's attacked you. Very useful. And then the third one, with probably my favorite icon of Riffle's dice, is the drawing dead. And that lets you put it onto a baddie, and then after the baddie rolls its dice for its turn, you can turn a certain number of those dice into bones. So you can turn its attacks into bones, or even if it's a tyrant, you might be able to turn its tyrant die into bones if it has that face. The last line of Riffle's professions is the gambler profession. That's sort of all about being risky. And the very first one in that line is luck of the draw. This is an interesting guessing game. You're going to draw a certain amount of cards off of your full deck and guess a number and a suit. And if you flip them over and there's that many of that suit, then you can put them on your active deck and get a bunch more cards. But if you guess too high, then you don't get to keep anything. And if you guess too low, you only get to keep the number that you guessed. So in this case, if I had guessed 1 bone, even though there's 3, I only get to keep 1. The last die in the gambler profession is this chip and a chair. And there's 3 different sides to it. We have that, and that. All of them have to do with stopping you from being KO'd, and they have different effects. So one of them lets you just stay at 1 HP, one of them lets you deflect the damage to a party member, and one of them lets you deflect the damage back to the baddie that's attacking you. And the very last die is, of course, Riffle's consumable. It has 4 sides that all have the different card suits, and then of course some bones. But the card suit dice act as a wild card of that suit, so you can play it with a card combo to act in place of a card. The last thing to talk about with Riffle is their backup plans. Let's go over that really quickly. They have some really useful abilities in their backup plan. And the first one is out of turn, and that simply lets you play another card combo on your turn. We have Call the Clock, which lets you take the highest non-tyrant baddie in initiative and bump it right down to the bottom of initiative. We have Pocket Pair, which lets you resolve 2 different suit effects without having to play any cards. We have the Maverick, which lets you deal damage to any baddie on the board, and the amount of damage you deal is equal to how many cards you played in your first card combo. And then of course we have Reshuffle at 5 bones. That lets you take your whole discard pile and shuffle it back into the active deck, because it's really important to remember that unless an ability gives you that, you don't get to reshuffle your discard if your active deck runs out. And then of course, if you get 6 bones, you get your innate +1 card savant. And the way that that works is now all of the vision cards that you play can be treated as any number when you're playing them with runs or with matching suits. So that's really useful in getting more runs and matching card combos out there. So I think that's all that you need to know in order to play Riffle. They're a lot of fun to play with the brand new card mechanic. And separately, you get just a deck of 52 cards, which you can play any number of playing card games with. So it's like 2 games in 1, 5 games in 1, 200 games in 1. I don't know how many playing card games there are out there, but you can play all of them with this deck of cards, which is fantastic. So I think that you're going to really enjoy this mysterious gear lock. I really encourage you to get your hands on it before they go back into hiding.